Hello friends, this is Monyei from Houston, Texas, USA, and you're listening to the Nollywood Spotlight Show on Nollywood Radio France. And of course with me today is Cyprian Josson. Cyprian, tell the audience where you're located.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm your host Cyprian Josson. I'm in France, in a little city called Chartres, 100 kilometers away from Paris. So Rebecca, what do you have for us today?
You guys, I really don't even know what to call this little story that we have for you today, but it is very interesting to see something like this happen in the heart of Africa. So let me just tell you what the story headline says. This is, by the way, on GhanaCelebrities.com, and the headline for this story says, "In the face of ongoing bisexual accusations, what's wrong with these pictures?" That is the title of this article. So I go down and I'm like, bisexual? What's going on, And I see a picture of two beautiful, capable women kissing, practically making out on the chair, just kissing away. And I was like, I don't know. It goes both ways, It could be sort of like really good friends and they're just joking and things like that. But then I actually read what the article says. So it says, Sally Galley of Big Brother Africa, fame who made undeserving headlines as the STD carrier who cheated on her musician boyfriend, Craig Tetai, has been rumored to be one of the many industry bisexuals kicking it with both men and women. In the face of the above accusations, certain photos, see them above, there's open parenthesis, close parenthesis, have emerged on social media, fueling the bisexual accusation. Surely, if you were Sally, and I'm being rumored to be chopping down other women, that's eating down other women, it's broken for eating down, I would definitely not take such suggestive photos to give room to the ongoing rumor, unless I wanted to make a statement. That's what the article says. And looking at that article and looking at the picture, it's just really difficult for me not to think that, okay? And for those of you who do not know what Big Brother Africa is, and if you don't think it's a big deal, ladies and gentlemen, it is a big deal. Let me give you a little bit of history of what Big Brother Africa is. Big Brother Africa is the African version of the Big Brother reality show. This show initially involved 12 African countries: Angola, Botswana, Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, Nairobi, Nigeria, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. With two countries, Ethiopia and Mozambique, being added to season 4, and two other countries, Liberia and Sierra Leone, being added in season 7. Each country provides a contestant living in an isolated house while trying to avoid being evicted by viewers and ultimately winning a large cash prize at the end of the show. The show is co-produced by Edinburgh, South Africa. Now, this information is on Wikipedia. Anybody can go and find out. Just type Big Brother Africa. I thought that was very, very interesting. Seeing a show like this. So I'm taking it that this young lady has still not been evicted or canceled from the show. Cyprian, what do you think about that?
Yeah, what I think is that it's a reality show, like you said, Big Brother Africa reality show, and we all know that reality shows, some of the scripts are acted out, you see, because
And didn't we also find another article on that, Cyprian?
yeah, but I just want to say something. But how can somebody carrying STD, it's a disease that can be taken care of by doctors, but now be accepted in such a competition, in such a contest as important, such a contest like a Big Brother Africa reality show? This is what I don't understand. That's my first question. Do you answer that?
I don't really think that she had the STD prior to being a part of the show. I think she got the STD after being on the show.
After being on the show. Okay,
Right.
now what I would like to say is that it's STD or no STD, but I think what's very important now is for our listeners to make sure that they don't go on unsafe sex, because
Right.
when we're talking about different diseases, we focus only on HIV, but there are so
Right.
many other diseases that are gonorrhea and so many syphilis. There are so many that can be harmful to some people that are careless when it comes to sex, because we're going to talk about sex today, but it's going to be in a positive angle, telling you to be very careful. Make sure that you use condoms, because in Africa, we cannot talk about condoms in Africa. There are no sex education in a good number of African countries, because tradition and taboos and religion and so many things make it impossible to have a good sexual education. Tell young people, like it's happened in France, even in all the high schools, you've got the nurse or the doctors that come to say, okay, be very, very careful, no unwanted pregnancy, or even you have to go on condoms. Now in Nigeria, they said you are inciting people to sexual activities if you talk about condoms. You see, so going back to Sally Gelly, I think this is what the lesson we can get out of that. This is what our listeners can get out of that. And again, there's another point again, Rebecca, I would like to add, except you want to say something before I go ahead with conversation.
I guess with this particular piece, what I don't understand and really irritating to me is that this particular contestant, Sally Galley, is said to have had STD and has been doing and actually carried that disease via promiscuous sex with both men and women. And this is not a secret because it's out on the internet. According to this article, it's out on the internet, it's out on blogs, everybody's talking about it. My thing is because this show involves so many African countries, this would have been a perfect opportunity to have this young lady be an advocate for safe sex, because their show reaches out to so many people. That show alone reaches over 15 African countries, and which is where there is all kinds of sexual diseases. Most African countries do not have law against rape. Men raping women, men raping children. So this would have been a perfect opportunity to actually raise awareness about serious. And because even if this was a publicity stunt, I still think that this still would have been a perfect opportunity for that show to talk on a very positive manner about what can be done about that. And even the people who carry these diseases, if it's not treated well, could also be a danger to them themselves, who are the hosts. Talk less of the people who they're passing it to. So there's just so much that ties into this information being spread out. Forget her fame, forget her reputation. At the end of the day, if she leaves the show and never does anything with her fame, she just goes down the drain like any other person in the industry. You have to consistently live up to that standard in the industry. Even when type of show is the type of show Tonto Dike went on, and she became famous. So it could be a positive thing for you. But when you have such a negative connotation behind your name, behind your personality, behind your presence, that is a major issue. But there is still a way to turn it around by genuinely being an advocate to change that, to create a solution to that issue. Your series is all over Africa. Why not talk about condoms? Why not talk about, keeping the young children away from sexually transmitted diseases, and maybe change the way you're putting yourself out there. That'll also help this situation, I think.
Yeah, but this raises again the problem of poverty, because people are struggling to make both ends meet. Now, is it easy to buy condoms? Or again, coming back to it's not easy to buy condoms in Africa, especially in so many countries. How are you going to talk to people to educate them that this is going to save your life, you see? So I think that's the job a good number of governments and hospitals and schools should try to do, like what you said.
Right.
She should have been an ambassador to talk about this type of disease and say,
right.
Okay, like what happens in France and so many places, say, okay, a type of motivational speech and inspirational
right.
sessions and speeches and conferences to say, I'm affected and I don't want you to get affected with this
right.
type of diseases. That again, even if you are affected, it's not a taboo. You see, go and cure yourself. Go to the hospital. Do not contaminate others, because
right.
it's just abject wickedness when you have this type of HIV. Some people who have got HIV, they go ahead contaminating others, knowing too well that they've got it. Yes, other people.
Right.
So that's a very that's not the good way to go. It's all about education again, you see.
Right.
So now, but in that article we saw, let's put our hands on the main point, is that we saw two girls kissing, you see.
Just from a back on that subject.
I have to come back to that subject because
it's really weird for me, I'm not gonna lie to you, to see two African women kissing. Not that I'm in Europe, because I'm in Europe, I have no choice but to be around so many things. Some that I accept, some that I don't. I'm not discriminating against anybody. I have no negative comment to say anybody. But when you come from a family with solid foundations and traditions and the do's and the don'ts, what you can or cannot do, what is and isn't a taboo. I remember growing up, just merely standing next to a boy for more than 5 minutes, they're like, something is going on between the both of y'all. Y'all separate. There should be an extra room for the additional person between the both of y'all. Y'all too close. Things of that nature. And now in 2014, I'm seeing two authentic Africans. They probably have never been to Europe in their lives, doing things Europeans would do. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. It was just very weird. I was embarrassed. I wasn't doing anything. Okay, so that was that. But that's just weird. It really is.
But Rebecca, much depends where they are. Are they in you've seen the law that has been passed in Nigeria, quote and unquote. He said it is already illegal to have gay sex in Nigeria. Now, same-sex couples could face up to 14 years in prison.
I remember when they passed that law. See, I think because it's a show, nobody has ever really caught them doing anything outside, and I think the group of people that they surround themselves with honestly wouldn't care if they were homosexuals or not. I think, though, for this particular story, it wasn't the fact that she is an homosexual or the fact that she's having a relationship between both men and women. It's the fact that she caught an STD. And so people are like, so where exactly did it come from?
Yeah, but Rebecca, it reminds us about the law of same sex in Nigeria.
Right.
What do you think about this law? Because the law goes to say that any person who registers, you're not a homosexual, okay? Or I'm not against homosexuals. You have to be very careful because we are free to do whatever we want. You know, that's our private lives. But now in Nigeria, it's not your private life. It says any person who registers, operates, or participates in gay club, societies, and organizations, or directly or indirectly, makes public show of the same sex amorous relationship in Nigeria, commits an offense and shall each be liable on conviction to a term of 10 years in prison. The same-sex marriage prohibition Act says. So you might not be of this homosexual, but you can also be in prison. Don't you think it gives a loophole to a good number of people to say, I can knock at your door and say, I saw you very close to one man, or I saw you very close to one woman, you are a gay, or you are this. This is discrimination. This is what we call discrimination, you see.
Right. And I think a lot of the times, these laws are there to instill fear, really, in its citizens. I've never heard of anyone actually going to jail in Nigeria because they were homosexuals. If you're listening to this and you are one, do not publicly display it in Nigeria because you will go to prison. Don't have them use you as an example, okay? But I'm just saying, like, it's just one of those things. It's really weird. And, even in the U.S. now, like, in some, it's actually legal for you to be married and be gay, So it's kind of weird, though, that the fact that we have to do that in Nigeria means that there is some form of being gay in Nigeria. Do you see what I'm saying? For them to actually put a law in place banning it. But in America, people say that you can't become gay, you're born with it. So I really don't know what to tell those people in Nigeria. They are definitely in the wrong country.
Yeah, because what I'm saying is, Rebecca, it's not against people, the senators or lawmakers to make any type of law they want to make.
Right.
Because they represent the people, okay? And this is a sovereign country where you have right to put out your laws and nobody can challenge you because it's signed by the president himself, okay? Yeah, but what's dangerous in this type of law is that it leaves a loophole to how can you control the people that are told to enforce the law? Because anybody can point at you that you are a gay or a lesbian, and then that's it. And before you know it, and before...
Okay, what if they actually catch someone who is gay and they put them in jail? In America, they have separate cells for those people. That doesn't stop them from being gay.
Yeah, but...
There's more than enough men in jail now. I mean, like, they don't have, like, private, isolation chambers that they have here in the U.S. or in France, where, if you're being abused in prison and you report to an officer or parole person or whoever they call those officers in jail, they'll take you away from the cell where you have everybody in it and put you into your own private cell. They don't have that in Nigeria. That's not going to work out. Yeah,
this is it's coming to the case of Sally Gelly and the girlfriend. If they are not in Nigeria... Sorry?
How do you know that's her girlfriend?
But you see the way they were kissing.
Super, you've made her a girlfriend. Oh my gosh! If she's listening to this,
it's very suggestive. Sorry, our listeners cannot see the photo, but you can refer them. You can refer them to the article. Then, if she's not the girlfriend, I don't know what I can say. I have no other word to call that. They are really friendly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Extremely friendly.
Intimate.
Okay. Exactly. She's wearing a sexy outfit. She's wearing. I mean, the picture tells it all. But then again, I don't know. Maybe African girls get this close these days. Who knows?
But say they get down to the airport in Nigeria because they've been known to be of the same. They can be arrested.
They could.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
they could be
yes,
arrested.
you're absolutely correct.
Yes.
Yes, they could.
And they will face 14 years in jail.
Wow.
So it's a way to it's a very delicate issue, and I think it's raising a lot of debates everywhere. And again, I've read articles that are saying that a sovereign country, has right to enact any type of law, which is true, you see. But what I'm saying is the abuse that might come out of it. That's only what I'm saying. That we have to watch how people can point at others and use it in different ways, because it's very difficult to know who is gay and who is not. Am I going to write it here on my forehead to say I'm not?
Right.
So it leaves room for abuse, and this is.
A lot of those government officials do take advantage of the law, to their own personal benefit. They would lock somebody up because they're a senator, because they didn't pay them or didn't have any money. Something that could easily be taken care of verbally, or rearrangements, to show supremacy and authority. They will use the law to their own personal advantage because they have access to it. So I absolutely understand what you're saying, that law in itself leaves a major loophole for government, and almost anybody who knows the law can use it to their advantage. And it's really at the mercy of the person being convicted.
Now, what about lawmakers who are gay?
See, that's the thing, though. Like, how are we gonna know that? There's so many of them. Honestly, I heard some really strange stories about government officials in Nigeria. So I don't know how. I mean, they're the one making the law, so I guess it does not affect them.
Yeah.
They can always find a loophole around it,
Now, I think they will understand we're not questioning the law, but what we're saying is there are loopholes. There are loopholes, you see. And again, for me here from France, looking at the law from here, maybe some people in Nigeria or in Africa might accept it. He said, okay, it's the way we see things. I think it's discriminating against certain people, you see. So it's
I mean, but honestly, Cyprian, you and I both know that Nigeria is a very religious country. You're either a particular religion. It could be Christian, it could be Muslim, or it could even be abolition, traditional medicine. But these religions are very well respected in the country. People believe in them, and people even follow them. So, and ironically enough, on all those religions, whichever one it is, being a homosexual is still a taboo.
Yeah.
So whether it's traditional medicine, whether it's Islam, whether it's Christianity, none of them approve homosexuality. So either way, it's still bad. Period. So it's definitely purely discriminating. But in Europe, you see that these people are not bad people. It is their personal choice.
That's their choice.
Yeah, it is their personal choice, and
choice.
A lot of the time it does not affect outside of their household unless somebody is personally discriminating against them. There are government officials in the U.S. that are homosexual, and that's their job in any way, fashion, or form. You see what I mean? So it really just depends. It just depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, I think the point, what we need in Africa, especially in Nigeria, is the way to solve poverty. You see, I think that's the major laws they should focus on. But this type of distractions, what I call distractions, you see, laws against the gay law. The other time it was a senator who came up with a law that you can get married to a girl of 6 years or 7 years. I don't even know. So I think I don't even understand these senators over there, because they are using the taxpayers' money, talking about gay, talking about how to marry an underage girl, while the men parole, the poverty, no light, and you see embezzlement, corruption. And again, so many things that are happening, you see. So, and again, insecurity, you see. So, I'm not against your passing your laws, but what I'm saying is that it's for me, my own opinion from France, it's a big discrimination against certain people and their way of life. I think being gay, the way we see it from here, it's a private affair, what we say in France. And again, some of our listeners might be saying, the people in Nollywood Radio France, maybe Mr. Cyprian Josson is gay. I'm not, so anyway. You see,
I'm not gay,
you see, but I have friends.
Yeah.
I have friends who are gay and they look normal like me. It's their way of life. So, stand up is you have to make sure that you don't follow the example of Sally Kelly, because you have to protect yourself even when you see somebody you like quickly. Don't go on unsafe sex, because that might land you to so many difficulties. In the last podcast, we talked about taking care of our bodies. It's part of it.
Working out, taking care of your body, loving yourself. I mean, you should never be desperate enough. I mean, there is nothing more urgent than surviving, than living, than protecting yourself. And that's one of the things that you have to think about, even in those situations, that you need to love yourself. You need to know. I went to church today, and one of the things that my pastor preached was knowing who you are. To know who you are, to know that there's certain things you shouldn't do, and this is one of them. You must always use protection at all times. Your life should be valuable to you enough.
That's correct.
And even if you're an orphan and you think, oh, nobody will miss me, no one cares, well, that's really a selfish decision to make, because that's impossible. Everyone you come in contact with, you are impacting their lives in one way or another.
That's correct.
And just because they don't tell you that you're a motivation to them does not mean that you're not a motivation to them. You should appreciate yourself enough to take care of yourself. So always use protection. That's really how I feel about that.
So just to round up, no condoms, no sex.
No condoms, no sex, ladies and gentlemen. That should be your next motto. Anyone comes to you, you got a condom? You got
No.
It's a no-go. It's a no-go.
It's a no-go area. You're listening to Nollywood Radio France, and I'm here with my colleague Rebecca Monyei, all the way from Houston, Texas, on Skype, and I'm here in France, in a little town called Chartres. And Rebecca, how do you round up on your own side?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Cyprian. Okay, so now, ladies and gentlemen, I will post these pictures on NollywoodSpotlight.blogspot.com, or you could go to NollywoodSpotlight.com to check out this post. Do you think Sally Galley is a bisexual candidate on Big Brother Africa? Look at this picture. I want to know if you think it's a romantic picture, or if it's just friends hanging out. I don't think so, but we'll see what you think about it. So I will post it on there. And if you haven't visited, you have to go there. It's NollywoodRadioFrance.com. We have a special article on a superstar we interviewed about 2 weeks ago. His name is A.B. Salou. You have to go check out that article. It is fantastic. And I also want to hear what you think about that article as well. Again, so visit NollywoodRadioFrance.com.
And also your blog. Don't forget your blog. Come on.
NollywoodSpotlight.com.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for listening.